Okay, let's begin. So this is going to be an expansion on my findings. Those who are here again, you will probably hear some things again, and I have to repeat them to them. But you know, what am I talking about? So this is about bioresonance, and we have heard a lot about supplements, plants, medicinal treatments, everything that you can do for the body with physical objects, CTE, or what you do with it. What I believe, and it's like a lifelong study, is what bioresonance means is when the Bible says one step towards God and will become 3 steps towards you. That has to do with cellular memory. And cellular memory has to do with when the cell is in bioresonance. So the idea was to figure out like where are the places with the most potent bioresonance on Earth, also called holy places, where people have miraculous healing experiences. They get better, they get well. Not only that, they remember their past lives, they remember their cosmic origin. It's like a cosmic awakening taking place, but also physically in the body, changes are taking place because the cellular memory, as in most of the cellular resonance, is changing. So what does that mean? So there's a simple example. See, this is the King's chamber. When they measure the resonate, where it resonates in the center is 432 hertz. And scientists will still debate that this is some coincidence, which I think is not. The measurements are accurate, and the Egyptians knew exactly what they were doing, and they erected those buildings. So not only that, so what I followed that would have me fascinated in school is that we had built these copper pyramids to play with. And teacher was like, okay, let's place an apple in the center of the pyramid with the correct measurements. The ratio of whenever you replicate something has to be accurate, otherwise you're not having the resonance. That has to do with bioresonance. So I always wondered, why is it a big apple in the pyramid doesn't rot? And outside, the decay process is accelerated. There's something in the center of the pyramid. We have many names: longitudinal, standing waves, scalar waves, tachyon. I think it's much more. So I'm going to hop in between images a little bit, because this is going to be a little bit different than the last time. I did a remote viewing experiment, and I'm not a professional remote viewer, but I call it interdimensional forensics. I have ideas when I look at the past and I look at constructs. So I took a channel in Lemuria, pretty good one, and I said, let's go back to the Bizet Plateau. And let's go back 50,000 years, linear timeline from here. So what do you see? So he saw lush and green, the Nile River clear, and the pyramids were golden, as in galvanized. And the tip of the pyramid had like a quartz crystal on it, as this is called pyramidion. So I was thinking, and I call them the pyramidians, people that believe that this is a tool. And so we went further into the past, and we kind of got together, and I follow a pattern. When I see something that has a pattern that fits another system with the same pattern, I follow that same pattern. And the rest I dismiss. So I realized that the pyramids were used for healing and for meditation, not for living in the pyramid. So I have to burst that myth bubble that sleeping in the pyramid is healthy. It's actually not. You use a pyramid for healing modalities, for some time, and then you get back out. Your body has to dip into these energies and then dip back out. Or when you're dealing with high dimensional energies, you have to lean on them because the body actually process a resonance and step into a higher resonant field. And so So I'm talking a little bit nonlinear, but bear with me. I have observed that when UFOs as a royal craft appear, not only the grass is greener, and biological organisms are enhanced. My favorite case is Travis Walton, where I also saw a video, which is very tough to find on YouTube, shows the growth rate accelerated that day, from that day when the craft touched ground. So I'm thinking if a craft leaves a residue that enhances the biological system, changes the DNA and RNA scriptly, and evolution is changed and is actually better. It's enhanced, it's fixed on what's behind that. So with me, I have an experience of our own extraterrestrial contact with the Sasani, Gray, Arcturians, lyric cat beings, feline beings, and a little bit mantid ones, and they were gold when they appeared, is the technology that's being translated to me is that where Earth is going into a higher dimensional frequency that is called 5D. When somebody runs around, if they say they're 5D already, not quite yet. The window is open to find those technology, anti-gravitic propulsion systems, and energy efficient systems. I won't say free energy, because there's no such thing as free. Everything works in exchange. But if we have energy efficient systems, you will have cars with batteries in the future that will have a 5,000-mile range, and you can charge that within 3 hours standing still. We will be more effective. So what we're meeting in context, as in the ships that are coming, is ourselves from the future, helping the fallen part of ourselves to come back with the higher part. So oversoul or higher self or God or whatever you want to call it, like perfect version of you, can meet. But we need help. So the hex, we have devices. And some people say, we'll beat devices, but if you have a broken leg, you need a crutch. And in the beginning, we need crutches to get to the point of recovery. So we have to understand the way the pyramid is built. And this is, so I look at my technology, which I call scalar fractal capacitance. Well, how do I get this heating modality or this energy that these ships emanate compact into a pendant, the one that I'm wearing, or bigger devices like scalar modules or house and home, and that would have an effect. So I looked at the pyramids, and from channeling and reading books, I looked at missing pieces. So one of the missing pieces is, we'll need to take a look here. So this is a superconductor. This thing here is electric, dielectric, electric, dielectric, electric. That means where Wilhelm Reich got his orgone energy from, it's a third of the math of a cosmic generator that will emulate biodynamically a cosmic life force that will bring you back into a resonance that your cells actually remember or their job is in your body. And that's how you activate the avatar. It's a myth that you can sit 80 years in an ashram and fast and get clear. That is this almost like torture. We're past that, and I have no time to sit 80 years in an ashram to find ourselves. The time is now to live life and to participate in life. So I found out, studying books of, I don't know, anybody knows Mary Hardy? It's very underground. It's called The Technology of Man or Technology of God, and she went into the Gizeh Pyramid in the 70s, and they realized, what you won't see in this diagram is that the outer layer was electric, and then the next layer right after was dielectric. So limestone, granite, limestone, like an array of an organic template inward to channel the energies from the four directions. I'm not even breaking down the math and the directional and the pole and all that stuff, just how this generator works. So that's an accumulator that accumulates and accelerates the energy that's being drawn inward. Directed to this chamber, amplifies the light. And with the remote viewing and going into the past, I found out 3 things are necessary for a holy place to work. Niagara Falls, Hawaii, Gizeh Plateau, Sedona, which backwards spells a nose, amazingly. You need what was measured in the pyramids, photons, as in life force, which is the highest dimensional messenger code your cells can process, is light. Then comes electricity, and then everything else. So I don't want to break that down in my diagram, what actually minerals and enzymes are. There's different life storage capacities. So even your bone structure, your vertebrae, 33, is built in that way. We're all kind of like interdimensional spiritual superconductors, or at least we used to. So we're not that anymore because we got out of resonance. So bioresonance in symbol, I have to put this together so it makes sense. You need photons, you need negative ions, and you need magnetic anomalies. So the magnetic field Earth has collapsed to 0.4% because that has to do with the fall of consciousness. And when a magnetic field is low, that means that the entire universe is basically very much unrounded. Meaning there's a lot of belief systems that have been created, and the shortcut for belief system is what? BS. Make sense? So things that we're not taught in theory, and we believe that there's a practical application, but we don't know. So as you have seen in the last 2 years of the Kool-Aid era, or the Kool-Aid jab, there's a lot of belief systems being projected where we have actually no idea what's going on. And what I teach is to bring back that psychic feeling that you have the greatest ally besides the angels and ascended grasses and everything that you want to call in. It's awareness. When you're aware what's going on and what energies are being projected, that's your best defense against crap that's being produced. They get energy from you without any exchange. And we're outgrowing that, we're learning that. That's why this is the ascension process. So I learned a holy place is functional when you have what they call magnetic anomalies, photons coming from the ground, negative ions. And when you amplify those fields, then you have nature, which that is a normal thing and a normal construct. But tests have shown, I always want to say duh, it's like put somebody at Times Square for 4 hours and then measure blood sugar levels, brain levels, and they're stressed out and they're on defense and fight or flight, and the brain stays in beta, which is also fight or flight, and put a person 20 minutes in this, everything is clear, your alpha levels come back, which is a normal brain state, blood sugar levels regulate, blood pressure regulates, breathing slows down, because we are in resonance with nature. And when we run around in, let's say, sneakers that are insulators, we're not really getting a Schumann resonance into our feet. If a house, the base of our house is just limestone or just regular concrete, well, guess what? We seal all the Schumann resonance. So how is it there was what we call grounding work? I had to go with a lifelong back pain, and he started sleeping under his cabin on the rock, just playing on the rocks, and the back pain disappeared. That has to do with bioresonance. And if that baseline is not corrected, it doesn't help you to take vitamin C or vitamin D or all these things, because there are technical problems with, let's say, you can take as much vitamin D as you want, your body does not have an absorption rate if you're not in bioresonance. Everything just shuts down. Also, our food is, which is a whole another story, is sulfur deficient. So our sulfur deficiency and copper toxicity because of processed foods in the entire US, because everything is fertilized, even organic food, does not have us ultimately in bioresonance. Then I remember, I don't know if I can find that which, yeah, when my German grandmother, one half German, put apples, root beets, potatoes in the root cellar, how long do you think they last? Like in the soil, not concrete. Anybody have any idea how long they will last for steam condition? Minimum. Any idea?
Year.
A year. So you put an apple in the kitchen, how long does that last? Or for the refrigerator? A week before it begins to decay. But that shows you where the resonance went. It's not really there. And then I measured with ion meter that you can buy on eBay for $50. What does that look like in the soil? Well, you have negative ions in the billions. You have also photons. For that, you need a biophotonic emission camera to measure that. And everybody has phones and apps. Get a Gauss meter app. You can actually measure the magnetics coming on the ground. So when people say, Sedona, vortex, I don't know, walk to the mountains or watch your magnetics in your app and your phone go up and down, like fluctuate. So you know we have magnetic anomalies that's causing that. So what that does is basically what I got in my contact when I wake up on ships. I call them recall ships. I'm being briefed into the science that I'm into, but more so that they fill in the blanks that I don't understand from the earthly perspective. So the photons are, they called messenger molecules. And I love what Vigo said, actually everything is a photon. Whether it's an electron, proton, whatever you want to label it, these are all holodynamic programs that work in the holographic matrix that do their job according to the rules and laws of oneness as they present themselves. We just gave them different names. So what a photon is in its lightest form, also called the messenger molecule, and it transmits a correct information from the dimension that you assign to fix your body. But if we don't feel new, you hear people say, I don't believe in God, or I disbelieve, we're very disconnected. Or when people watch movies like The Secret, and they said, I'm doing everything, but I don't seem to be abundant, or I can't manifest. Well, the photons are the messengers that carry the message of your call out. But if you, as in coming from the source, you are a sorcerer or sorceress, because you're sourcing the original code and bringing forth manifestation, expanded to help in this ascension course. And everybody that's on earth is here for that. So when these codes are not aligned or incorrect, that's what your manifestation skills will suck. They will not work because you're not transmitting. So basically, the photon is the messenger for the transport for the information. The photon can rise into the upper realms of the higher dimensions or come back to the body. The magnetics you need to anchor the information into the body. That's the embodiment of the priesthood, which everybody to a degree is, however deep your studies are. So you need magnetics to bring that in. And I tell that younger starseeds, it's sometimes not beneficial to have just a crystalline bracelet. Maybe you should have a hematite or jasper or coal to ground an energy or lodestone. Is that you get cosmic energy, but you need the means to anchor that in. So it's the magnetics that anchor that in the body. In the electric circuitry, basically makes it an electromagnetic system that runs through your body to anchor that in, that you now embody it and then you can hold it. Like imagine, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Eternals, you calling in cosmic energy, and all of a sudden you can't hold the energy. If you can't hold the energy or the portals that you open for the divine assistance that you need in this process, that means your magnetics are not really anchored in the body. And that is very important for people that want to activate themselves into higher resonant frequencies. So the photons are basically the transmitters for the information exchange in your body. It's called intracellular communication. That's very important. If that drops to a degree, that's where disease at this or dis-ease begins. The magnetics are the ones that hold it in the body, and the negative ions are the ones you need in the metabolic exchange of a cell regenerating, rejuvenating, and fixing itself. So negative ions are important. So if you're interested, get an ion meter on eBay and measure how does my household look. And if you have millions of positive ions in your household, then spare that. That's not good for you. You want negative ions. Or get a negative ion law. Not like ozone layer. You don't need ozone in your home. Ozone you need in the ozone layer. Not really inhaling that's like detrimental. So science has shown, and I've checked like too many names to name them all, what Russians and the German scientists and many of me more studied is that you have biophotonic exchange between cells. And when the cells are healthy, you have 100,000 biochemical reactions in less than a second. And that's like a system of like any little cell is like a fusion reactor in your body. And this is maintained when everything is healthy. And that is when you're in bioresonance. So meaning that you represent something to the body that carries that resonance. Interestingly, your body can snap it a gear. So that's how where people had contact with Kraft. I spoke to a friend of mine named Alberto, and he had a lump in his chest, and his dog was dying. Kraft comes down, hovers over the house. The lump is gone. Doctors are baffled how the tumor went, and the dog looked like 15 years younger and wasn't dying anymore. It has to do with when you get back into the original resonance, the body can prepare basically anything and everything. And the Egyptians knew this when they talked about the Ka body. The Ka body is the plasma body. But when the plasma body is fully active in your full avatar mode, you need less than a gray per week when you're fully functional. We're eating out of efficiency. You're literally eating out of lower dimensional energetic efficiency. I love pizza, but what can I say? So here is what I found out in my channelings. You won't find that in books. So feel the resonance in what I say. You don't have to agree, but this is what I feel. Vitamins are a light directive in your body. Minerals store light in your body. Enzymes are the ones that balance the storage in the body out, and the cells produce light. Everything is a light factor within you. Everything is based on light within you. Blood transports light in your body, and what you have in your blood is the blood plasma, and plasma structures the light in your body. See, if these politics in your body are not aligned, you will have problems before any supplements or anything that we can do as a healing modality. That's why actually the physical term for enlightenment comes from when your light communication is 100% that you enlightened. The superpowers are like a side effect. They're called CDs. So you could see then when the plasma is structured, consciousness comes into the body. The Egyptians call that raising of the jet, hence my pendant is the raising of the consciousness in the avatar. And then when consciousness is becoming self-aware, it's basically the is. You also say Isis almost. Like your pure being of existence, then observing self, evaluating being of existence. Then you have, and everybody has that melanin. And melanin is reactive. Melanin is the thing that brings spirit to matter, that manifests its material out of the spiritual up into the physical realm. 9 is the car, the light body, or the factory that sets the soul blueprint for the plasma body, which is you want to be in tune with your higher self as much as you can. And that's what the Egyptians taught, but a lot of people don't understand, is to be of Bara, and hence I use that name, as I was in the priesthood of Ra, and I had to do skin back then, is to align with the purest version of yourself as intended by creation. That is what everybody is here to come and to be on this planet, is that you came here to be who you are. And there's so many in-between myths where we don't really know who we are. And when this settles in as these 12 steps, at some point I will write a book on how to really structure that to find an application in life. Saying when I go watch the younger years Bruce Lee, he always said, like, if you have nothing but theory and it's no application, then knowledge is useless. So find a practical way where you can directly see something. I'm telling you, basically what I'm doing is not just giving a speech, I'm also activating you into that you have the awareness, that you understand the words that I'm giving to you. That's the first level of telepathy. So Do a test. When I say rose, how many think of a red rose? Raise your hands. That's you?
I thought about pink rose.
Pink? No, not be afraid. You know what you wanting to be afraid. But just see that I name a word and you form an image in your mind. And that is already the basic form to everything. When you get psychic, there was I don't know if anybody watched the Asian martial arts movie where the master says like little, in use little hints, because they're already so developed is that you have to feel what's being transmitted. And the clearer you get, the more actually you will kick in. So we have 10 is the oneness, so that you realize that you one with everything and you embody that and you act that way. And then 11 is oneness and others realized. See, these are program settings. Call it self-aligning software. They will not turn on when your light levels are not communicated correctly. So if you want to speak light language or channel Aramaic, that's not going to happen overnight. You all have access to that because you have billions of years of information in you. I want to add like a fantastic story to that to show you how real this actually is. When people think it's all magic, it's actually science. It's actually alchemy that makes sense. So, and then 12 is interconnectedness, central sun awareness, and interdependence on the cosmic level, so we can meet interdependent. And we are powerful beings in creating these two communities. So to realize how real this science is I had made, it might sound funny, but check out the story. So I'm in the woods, I'm taking magic mushrooms. All of a sudden I'm on one knuckles, I'm a pre-human, I'm grunting, I can't speak. And all the other troop compilers are like, my God, I lost this shit. He's got a troop that he's fried, he's done. I was crystal clear. And I told them like grunting, like don't touch me, like stay away from me. And I realized everybody in that city with me is my clan. My scan, I could go out for miles and I knew somebody was coming towards us. So I could sense it. When I'm sober, the sense is weaker. So I tapped into something, it must have been 100 million years old or older. So I realized I was a Neanderthal being, I was an Arcturian soul, living as a Neanderthal to understand or understand what is a species on this planet, what's the level of development with all the limitations, having the intelligence of an extraterrestrial in the pre-human. It's very schizophrenic. I said I'm 2 years in the morning like, whoa, I'm never going to come through this. And I don't know if I did. So then I had a second trip with a friend, and she saw me as a Neanderthal. And see, when you tell people these things, and it's like, okay, this is all theory, but what's the proof here? So for kicks, I did a test with 23andMe, DNA test, and lo and behold, I'm 2% Neanderthal. So that shows you how real that is, that the metaphysical and the science can meet and they both make sense. And this is what we have to learn on this planet, that it's not so far-fetched that somebody had some magical skills or could tap into some knowledge where people say that's unheard of. Until we would have to break the status quo or the consensus of the modern science that doesn't accept that it is so. So I have my own proof that we can find things that make sense. So one thing to prove that, let's see, is I go back to bioresonance, which this was like a deep resonance, and as the deeper you go into bioresonance, the more knowledge is revealed. So if you are regular, say muggle, you can take 4 grams of mushrooms and don't see squat, because there are levels of communication and things of the divine order within you that allow or don't allow knowledge to be downloaded. This requires training. So it's like, imagine somebody will theorize about that you could do acrobatic backflips, and then he would say, well, then show me. and the person would basically fail because they are not trained and they haven't practiced. And this is how magically the ancient days was tested, is they want to see what's your knowledge. Or you would fair to say, you know who are the fruits of their labor. But when you're producing, what does that do? What are the effects and what are the physical effects? So my Arcturian council is very happy about bringing it into matter, making it factual, and bringing forth that these are sciences that people haven't looked at for ages, but they're still in application. So I found a way to capture photons with a photonic cannon in a photon reactor, which doesn't exist on this planet, to project it into a storage medium and then create changes. So this was a tested by a German company. And trust me, I'm half German. Growing up in Germany, if your orgone device is table weight, they'll tell you it's bogus. They measure it, they get nothing from the measurements. They'll tell you it's all nice and fancy and nice copper pour, a little bit of sprinkles of brass and aluminum, and you pour it in resin, and you think you have some science. It can be laughable if you do not know the science. So I'm deeply into the science and testing it. So I sent that to a German company. Basically, I had created a cell phone chip with nano quartz powder laminated on the sticker. You know, like reflective foil, like a stop sign, they have crystals in them. So activating that, and then they put that close to a petri dish with human cells, and they realized, like kind of like a sticker like this size, that the metabolism of the fibroblasts, which are the connective cell tissue, were activated by 21%, thus giving you a defense against EMF. So meaning when I put that on the phone, I don't need to touch EMF. I'm correcting the information that the phone is actually emanating to your cellular matrix. So you know you carry your phone with you, and that gigahertz is pumping into your vessel. And that you don't have any sticker, showgate, or whatever you have or modality on your phone, you're getting incorrect EMF modifications in your cellular matrix. And in the long run, they can be good. And some people say, yeah, I'm a phone, I don't feel anything, and then I make a stroke. Well, if I put plutonium in your pockets, you won't feel anything. But in 8 weeks, if your hair will fall out, then your teeth, you'll die. Subtle energies, it takes a long time to fully understand is something happening that's either beneficial or not beneficial for us. So I have the scientific proof that this little phone sticker actually changes your cellular matrix and protects you for EMF. So we also measured people with a photonic spectrum analyzer. We measure the fingertips, and for it sends a photon signal into the body, and then they can measure individual organs. Very expensive machines for Russia. And you would see, with just by holding that piece in your hand, your body already, it's like a super program, is already changing. So that is to bring in higher dimensional information. So this is not only Metatron's cube, but this is also a symbol. The sacred symbols are all science, and it's all in the words. So the word alchemy means from chem. Chem is Chemite or Egypt. Al-Chem. Alchemical means from the place of Egypt. And Chem also means the people from the ships, people from the stars. So whoever sent and built that, what you now call Egypt, were the Chemites, those who came, or the Shemites, those who came from the ship. So that's where the word alchemy comes from. So when your program is structured, in each cell, you have that program. Some call it Metatron. There are other names in other cultures, but it's the same thing. It's a divine program matrix that has your cellular matrix functioning properly, photons communicating, everything is correct. So when we are not in health and in divinity and correct in our programming, this doesn't look divine anymore. It's going to be distorted, or things are missing. And that's how you know you're not healthy. So shamans can see that, and you won't find that in books. You know, this is like higher knowledge, and this will come out again in new books will be written about how this actually looks like. So you can see this is for high voltage and vector capacitance, how this is in modern days, and this is from the ancient days, so that's why I say the ancient future. And That's why I created the JEP. And the JEP basically has 4 rings. The 4 rings are for the 4-dimensional aspect of you that you're here to master. That means master 3D in the villain, and 4D as in the astral realm or the thought realm or the realm of possibilities, to have thought management and thought hygiene in a divine protocol. And when these 4 clades are mastered, you're going into the 5th state. And that the Egyptians call in raising of the Jeb or the raising of consciousness. So the wishing is that you get your life in order, you get on the divine path, you do purposefully what you are here to do, and you learn it's not about free will, I could do what I want to do. My consequences is about divine will. What does my intuition tell me? What am I supposed to do when I am supposed to decide this is the right choice, and people or others will benefit if we share and we connect that. And that is why I join that symbol, is to remind us that we got to work together as in raising consciousness back into our awareness. And I channeled another word, and it's called Eseraton, and that means from darkness to light, from unconscious to consciousness. So you see here, it's a bigger device. I'm working on developing a bigger system that will have an effect on the environment. I've built scalar devices. I have my booth, a box that hits roughly 6,000 square feet, as in scalar fractal capacitance. These were machines. This is not just symbolism. These were active machines that would biodynamically bring consciousness back into the body and activate you without you not need to meditate. So that explains when they say God and Eden, the gods didn't age. Everybody was healed, no war was conceived. So my dream is that if we live in an environment with golden towers and pyramids aligned to that energy, you don't have MIB or from my lab. All of these upsetting things that were produced outside of that consciousness can't be perceived or conjured in that field of consciousness. It's impossible. The Bible talks about it. Nobody really reads that as the city of light. Evil can't even find its way in because the habitual state of that city, it's of a crystalline nature, is so high that a thief couldn't exist in a 100-mile radius of it, even conceiving an idea of taking from somebody, because it's not even in the consciousness. It's not even produced. It can't even, like, imagine somebody in the higher dimensional castle developing the atomic bomb. It's impossible. The development of that happens in the lower dimensional realm by lower dimensional thought processes, whether it's archonic infiltration or whatever gave that thought to Einstein and Oppenheimer in the build it, manipulation is possible in the lower realms. In the upper realms, manipulation is impossible. So when you're telepathic, you can't die. That's impossible. And those who are in control, they feel that. Once we wake up to this telepathic reality, we will know how to defend ourselves. And they can't infiltrate that or manipulate us, because it's going to be seen. So this is what I call a fuel diviner. And what I've noticed is when I did this, or the time of developing, I took one of my strongest pendants and clipped it to a fuel line. All of a sudden, my engine was like around 800 when idle, dropped to 500. The average temperature of the car being cool was usually 50%, and when it dropped to like kind of like 39%, so the car was running cooler. The oil, instead of turning black in 3,000 miles, stayed pristine in like for like 6,000 miles. And I turned a Chevy from 26.9 miles per gallon to 49.7 miles per gallon. It's just having a clip to the car. And I tested many fuel savers that didn't really do that. This was very effective, realizing when you harmonize and structure molecules from human to everything that you're working with, everything becomes more efficient, serving you, becoming more effective. So when magnetic anomalies occur in the ground, and photons and ions swirl out of the ground. You could find it in Bota, in the particular area of Sedona, trees will begin to twist. In German, we call that Hexenbaum. That means witch's tree. And witches would go there to get downloads, knowledge, conjure magic, form intent. Why? Well, these places are amplifiers by nature. And this was tested in labs. So you just spin the magnet, we get mung bean sprouts, and then grow, and they will begin to do this. They'll spin, because the orientation. So that's how you know that there's an upward spinning vortex, so you can sit by that tree and meditate. If it's going the other way, it's for grounding, and upwards is for channeling and going out. So a lot of people visit Sedona, they don't know that, they run around Cathedral and Ballarat to try to hold the place with these trees. So yeah, here's some very proud of. As you can see, this is a bush that I cut. You can go back in time like 6 months ago. And then I took my pendant and I clipped my pendant at the base of that bush on this one strand. The others are unclipped. You see the difference? 6 months, no water, green. Only because I'm maintaining the bioresonant frequency in that stem. That's how powerful that is when you're back in bioresonance. I can imagine what it does to the body over time when we do the work. So this just to show you things they can do. Basically, what I'm doing is amplify through a crystal, correcting the information from the upper dimensions going into your body. And I looked at the potency of the light levels, of like how many fold deep that is, what's coming in. And I got the math from my friend in Lemuria. So I'm basically getting photons from a 23-dimensional level. That means like we can't get any purer. As an undiluted, pure photonic as it's going into your body. And your body miraculously knows what to do. And I believe, has anybody seen the movie The Last Limsy? If you haven't, I highly suggest watch that, The Last Limsy. Yep, Limsy. M-I-N-Z-Y. There is a girl in there that she gets activated, and ETs kind of help through contact to activate our body. And she's running along the beach. All of a sudden, she's so enlightened that she's so lightful that she begins to levitate partially. That's a side effect. But if you get this vessel running really optimal speeds against magical, it's kind of like there's a threshold before you can cross the ventures. And science has shown that. So, little trivia here. How many miles does the DeLorean have to go before it could jump dimensions in Back to the Future? 8. See? Yeah, science always shows there is a threshold before you can do magic. Before then, nothing happens. It's like downloading an app. As long as you download it, you're not activating. You can't click on it. And that's why other people don't have the patience to do that, because they see nothing happening. So that's why I say be patient with yourself, and then miraculous things come forth. But this was a light board that I created before I created my scalar wave boxes. This was a 24 karat gold dipped copper rods. And basically it emanates photons and gold ions from the stem. And the reason why I found out that gold also is beneficial, I saw, and this is like an assembly where if you're into that, like watch what your higher self is telling you. And when somebody comes to you, gives you some knowledge or some wisdom that comes in, that's your higher self actually trying to communicate with you with others. So partially, I'm an aspect of everybody in here, of your consciousness talking to you through me. So I looked at a picture where they showed a woman with arthritis, and one finger was healthy and clear, but I saw a ring on that finger. Well, guess that ring was gold. So science knows that gold ions prevent cases of calcification. So when the king would wear a crown, this was not for riches. The crown was an instrument to channel. And it was one of the reasons why King Henry kind of went nuts. If you, a bit on the photo, so yeah,
With all phones on silent, please.
so basically, what a king was back in the days, he was a navigator for the nation. He was a server, not a ruler, meaning channeling shareable thought waves in which direction evolution in the tribe or the nation would go. And the crown was the instrument to channel that in. But if you were impure or diluted or dark spirited, you basically fry your brain with those things. So these crowns for the ancient days, let's say crown of King Solomon, you put that on, you probably lose your mind. It's like trying to sit in the king's chamber on a solstice on mushrooms. You fry your brain because you're overloading yourself with data that you're not trained to receive. That's where the shamanic training comes in. See, and the deeper I go into my questing, the more I find miraculous instruments that can. So this thing here, this is a one-time, one-off that I built, maybe in one series. This is an ionizer. Doesn't require electricity. You have that in your house. It divides the air and ionizes the room. And the fun part is, in order to find these chrome balls that I screw on top of this, I had to call Harley Davidson to get clutch tops to put it together because it's not being produced. So you really have to piece together things that are like Atlantean, and then when you call the industry, they're like, I don't understand. So what do you need? What do you always what name? I'm like, okay. Then I gotta break it down very simple that I get the individual pieces so I can do my assembly. So let me see here. Yeah, this is the modules basically that have now come forth that I channeled in. This is a scalar fractal capacitor module. It's 6,000 square feet toward your field conjugation. That means divining the phase that you're in, meaning making the place holy. Had an interesting effect with that, where I'm mentioning Tom Dango on a side note here with the water bottles. So I've put I will put that to my advertisement that I've added holy information to water bottles and all the alignment with photonic information based on a scalar frequency. So we realize when we pour water into our bottles, it begins to smell rosy. It gets an effect of
There, I witnessed it.
yeah, so you witnessed it, and I was like, I didn't put anything in the model to create a trick, is when things get holy, the smell, you know, when people say that angels can smell like lavender, you ever heard that? It's because when the ionization is at a high frequency, in a holy frequency, you would have this, the Bible mentions that smell of ambrosia, like a perfume type smells when holy beings come in. That's why the anointed ones, and in the Bible it's listed, they had oils like frankincense. All these anointing oils increase the frequency in the body. That's fact. They've measured it. I read a book, Young Living Oil. They have this big book with science is in it, which when people are interested, get into the science. Rose oil. And I found it, I think, Bulgarian rose otto, very expensive, increases the frequency by 320 megahertz. Just touching cellular frequency, and they can measure it. For the coffee drinkers, so you have to drop it. If you drink coffee, you drop your life force by 63%. This just goes into the basement. So just make sure, and some rose oil at night, you have to drink your often. You said. So there are things like, oh, somebody you spell somebody or say you're stupid, you 30% life force goes down. In Kung Fu, it's almost like a trick. When, you know, these Kung Fu artists do these maneuvers, these are measurements of photons. So my Sifu, I studied Wei Chun, when I was younger, showed me, he said, put your arm up and just hold it up. And I held it and then I resisted him. And then he went behind my shoulder and he cut my life force. And then he touched me and I couldn't pull my arm up. So, you know, when people argue or say, oh, all of this is spelling, it's a switchcraft. We're doing it every day. So in this teaching, be aware of what you're doing when you're emanating. When you uplift somebody, let's say you say, you're beautiful, you're bringing that life force and the beauty to the person. Or when you're doing this, you're uplifting a person. Automatic, because that's coming from you. So know how powerful you are, you know. Now again, here this is 5G mitigation, defense against EMF. And the side effect, which is intended, I had a friend who bought a box and they got it in the backyard there, an avocado tree, wearing like 5 avocados, and 3 weeks later, 6 bees coming, butterflies, grass this high, neighbor complaining because he has to cut his grass now every week instead of every 2 weeks. He gets accelerated. Family feud going on for 20 years, and then a week later, labor comes with cake and wants to make peace. You can do that with the field. And the electricity is not required. So I have 5 minutes, and let me jump real quick so I can bring that, what Michael is pushing me to build a floor model. I've built a method prism form. I see the map on YouTube, it's all CGI and animation. It's not real, and the promise of government rollout, I wouldn't count on it. So this doesn't require electricity. This is photon ion therapy for life, repurposing natural surrounding fields. I have, maybe next time I put that video, so much stuff happens I can't even put it all in one slide, where the neighbor past the fence had a peach tree, and one branch reached towards my bed, and only on that branch were like 40 peaches. It was exploding and growing into this thing. So that's how attractive life force is when you do it right. So this is the prototype, which I'm not going to transport because, like I told Michael, like this is a prototype and I want it to be out. And to make this quick, I'm working on a floor model that when Michael has a next event, that we will have the chance to present it, and you can test it and feel for yourself, and I let people explain what they feel with that. And what I'm doing basically, it's unheard of in the world, and I haven't seen anybody do it. So I have boron plates in the top. Underneath, these are all like photonic modules that you see inside. Everything else, it was a tanning bed, and I removed everything electrically out of it. So you have boron, you have photons under it, and then ferrite magnets for a magnetic alignment in the body, how Earth was 100 million years ago. And then you close the lid, so you're almost in a Faraday cage, and then the activation, cell repair, many unimaginable things take place. I had a skeptic that laid in that bed for half a more minute, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe in that.
Oh, yeah, you were laying in the bed, yeah.
Okay, so I went into the bed, just for your information to corroborate what I was saying. I laid in that bed, and he closed the lid on me, and I have no claustrophobia, fortunately, because it's completely dark in it. And I was there probably a little under 2 minutes, probably 90 seconds, and I could see the silhouette of myself, and my eyes are closed. I could see the silhouette of myself and these pulses of waves that were coming up, first very soft and then stronger. And I said, if I don't control this, I don't know what's going to happen. And so I said, open the lid, because I didn't want to spend another 20 minutes trying to figure out what I could heal.
Yeah, so to wrap it up, I had a skeptic, it was like it's all suggestible, I don't know, laying in there. After 8 minutes, lumberjacks, cutting wood in Canada. So, and then I left him in there for an hour. And then he came out of there almost like drunk, and he was like, I don't know what happened. I was taken out of my body. I met this light being. I was in communication. It totally changed. He was a total skeptic, and I love it when skeptics get like, it's like, I'm not here to convert or convince. It's like either you're in resonance or you're not. And he said, the thing works. So after like 8 minutes, basically your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. And if you're exhausted, like you think you're wakeful right now, when you lay down, if you're exhausted, after 8 minutes, you will fall asleep. Like kind of like a trance sleep. So the finish this up is I'm having ideas and visions to make this futuristic. And at some point I will find manufacturers, but that's still, industry doesn't understand what I require. I want to work with the sound, adding sound to color therapy. And I want these to look like the parts that are seen on spaceships. And this is the pre-design that we have. Yay. Yeah, that too there. So that is the future once I have the finances and the production in order for the healing beds. So we are the future. We are making this happen. I just wanted to share you my miraculous intake and visions that I get, that I receive. And that's what I'm grateful for. And like I say on my YouTube channel, I most certainly will see you on the flip side.
I'm so sorry, dude.